Alright, today I want to talk about this amazing array of cubes. Actually, it's more about the features that jitter provides and the features that this kit, my kit Randomizer provides, and what it can do and that jitter can't. So we'll start off with jitter. And mostly is one thing I want to point out is if you want to translate, rotate, or scale, everything is in the units that you've chosen in your preferences. So your units, which are here, whatever units you have here, I have inches is what's showing here. So which doesn't really make a whole lot of sense when you're doing rotation, which you want to do degrees. That doesn't make any sense. So if I want to rotate these in the using the rigid rotate feature, this works just fine to add a little jitter or something organic to that, some randomness. And same with the, oops, do that to perfect, or same with the scale. You can do that. But one thing that this does is, see the grid here, when you scale it, it'll go above and below that grid. And sometimes, you know, now I want all of these to sit on the grid, and that would be a tedious task to place each one on there, or have another script to actually go in and move each piece onto this the grid. So that's a couple of things that so scale is above, rotate. Another thing that rotate does is well, I'll get to the other feature later when I talk about the rotate local function here. So let's go back to a perfect grid here. And the way this basically works is I'm going to really quickly make a cityscape with this array of boxes. Turn the jitter off. Go in here. I'm just going to change the scale of the X and Z of these boxes. 25% is the smallest is going to go from where this is. This is the unit box, so 1 meter down to 25 centimeters, and then it'll stay the same as the maximum size, but it's randomized, so it won't necessarily do anything. Won't necessarily say at 1 meter. So I'll randomize the size of these. And if I don't like the pattern, all I have to do is just undo and apply again. I'll get something different. So I'll do that one more time here. And there we go. We'll work with that. And now I want to go with height. Now, that's not much of a cityscape there. So let's go with change this to the Y. And now I want to go keep with the lower 25 and go up to 250 on this, and I want to rest on ground this time. So let's just randomize, go with that, and there you go. You have cityscape, random boxes, streets. You may need to tweak a little bit for street-wise and whatnot, but there you have it. Now, if you turn this off and you randomize to the Y again, you'll see it will go below the grid. So if that's what you want, then that feature is definitely there. The next feature. So I'm going to real quickly make a sphere and an array of spheres. So here we go. Four spheres. And I want to scale, so I don't want them to, I want them to be maintained spheres, but I don't want them to be all the same size. So I just turn this piece on, and I don't have to worry about this at this point, and just turn that. Now I have, they all maintained their, let me make them a little less than that, 90. And there you go. They are now all spheres, but they're randomized sized, which is good. So next, let's move down to the move. Let's go back to the plane club array. Again, I'll just make a new feature, new thing here. Turn this off, and there, and array, and that, and we'll just up this a few times. There we go. and we're just going to do the move. This essentially works the same as the jitter tool, but and again, I can use the units that I want. So if I just want to randomize up and down on this, let's go a little bit more for drama here, and random move up and down. I get my up and down. Same with this here. I'll get a little bit more variety in my boxes. So let's go to rotation. Where are you? There we go. Okay, and rotate. So this is essentially this feature without the rotate local is the same as jitter, but I can do this in degrees. So if I want to rotate this minus 10 and 10 and rotate these on the Y, I get that. I don't get the nice drag my mouse, left mouse button drag and get the feature I want, but I can set a scale of a range of randomness and get that I want, whatever I want. Undo it and try again if it doesn't work. And so let's do that there. Do it again, and I get a little bit more. So this part here, the rotate local, this is a feature that jitter just does not do. And have another scenario over here, arch buttons, turn that on, and the arch, every cube, all this stuff I've been making here. And let's just turn on the arch as well. So as you can see, I have all these screw heads or buttons or whatever that you want to call them. They're all aligned properly to this here, but they're also all aligned in the same, they're all going the same way. And I want a little bit of variety to that. So what I want to do, so if I was to go and use jitter with rigid rotate and Y, I get something weird going on. Arch buttons, yeah. So I get it's not doing what I want. I mean, it's jittering them, but it's not what I want them to do. And it doesn't matter which axis I use, I'm going to get something that's not desirable. So let's just skip that function there. So if we go over here to rotate local, now if this button's on, then these options don't matter. It's going to use the Y axis only, and the code takes care of that for you, so you don't have to worry about it. But each one of these is aligned to the surface. And this function has nothing to do with the underlying arch. It's an individual mesh that works here. It works on the entire mesh contents. So if I just do 10 degrees here, a range plus or minus 10 degrees, take a look at that and run the routine. And you can see now there's a little bit of randomness to each one. I'll undo that and add a little bit more just to emphasize a little bit, and random rotate. There you can see quite clearly that they are they've been jittered within range of 45 plus minus 45. So I hope that is something that you might find useful, and if you do, then if you can find it on my Gumroad, I'll send a link down below to that location. Another last tidbit. So this works really well with flat button type, screw type details. So if you to illustrate that, this basically works off the work plane and how the work plane will recognize an object. So if I select this here and set a work plane to it, you can see it goes straight through it, and Y is pointing up out of it. So if I rotate it, I know where the rotation comes from. So if I use, say, do something else with a cube, bring a cube in there, and make this a little bit smaller for fun, and put the work plane on that, you can see that the work plane does not go perpendicular to the cube. It's a little bit more random how it sets that up. So when you're designing your piece that needs to go, I'm going to turn that off. There we go, and push this down, and then make my work plane. You can see that it's going perpendicular to it now, and which is what I want. I don't so much care that it goes perpendicular this way. You can see this, but this way is definitely the important part. You can see there that it's rising, going straight up and down out of there. So keep that in mind when you're trying to implement the buttons, and happy modeling, happy modoing.